Hey guys, it's me, Rena from Snailworks Crochet, and today I had the fun and quirky idea to see how many ends can I weave in one day. So you might have seen, all those videos of how many granny squares can I make in one day, how many scrunchies can I make in one day. I also did one, I happened to do one for how many bandanas I can make in one day, as well as how many granny squares I can make in one day. But I thought it would be kind of fun and quirky to do a video of how many ends can I weave in one day. Because I'm a little bit guilty. I don't really weave in my ends until I actually need to. So yeah, I figured in the spirit of Finish It February this month, I think I want to do a video where I see how many ends I can weave in one day. It's like noon right now and I haven't started, and I also haven't really eaten lunch either, so I'm gonna do that first. And once I do that, I'll kind of walk you through my thought process and how I'm going to approach this.
I tried to reheat my curry croquette in the air fryer and I ended up burning it, but I'm still gonna eat it anyway because it slaps. Okay, I have a burnt curry croquette, 2 hard-boiled eggs for protein, and some kimchi because I need a vegetable.
Okay, I am fed and now I'm ready to actually start. So let's explain a little bit of how I plan to approach this. I have a lot of projects and whips with unwoven ends, right? It's the name of this video is how many ends can I weave in. Now, what am I going to count as an end to weave in? For example, if I have a granny square with an unwoven end and I weave this end in, that counts as one unwoven end. But if I have something like this, where all the granny squares are, kind of connected together, and, it's not unwoven yet, all of this counts as one. Another example would be, this bag, which is close to finished, this has a bunch of unwoven ends. This whole bag will count as one end woven in. But say I have a lot of granny squares that are not connected together, but each individual granny square has like unwoven ends. Each of these individual granny squares will also count as one. So for example, it could be 1 woven end, 2 woven ends. I'm not classifying this by project, I am more so classifying this by piece of crochet that has unwoven ends. So if it's all in one piece, it counts as one. Project has multiple pieces, 1, 2, 3, right? That is how I plan to classify, ends woven in. Obviously, the cheat for this would be just to weave in granny squares, which would also work too. But I'll try and kind of do a mixture of both so that way I'm not completely cheating. I actually do have a bunch of other projects that need their ends woven in too. For example, remember the hooks and needles purse that I made? Still have all these ends to weave in. So there's that. And I also have quite a few bandanas that I've made in, the past that I haven't woven in the ends for. All of this will be counted as, ends woven in if I actually weave in my ends. Now I think for the sake of, starting this video off at least, I think I want to start weaving in the ends of my January temperature blanket. I actually finished January's blanket and as I'm filming this, it's like sometime in February. I don't know what day. I don't remember anymore. But yeah, so I just got to weave in some of the ends here, and that will count as my first woven in end. I'm sure for those of you who clicked on this video, you're 100% judging me, and I don't blame you for having all these unwoven in ends. Some people will be like, oh, why don't you just weave in as you go? And, sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. And, I have quite a few projects where I just don't. It really just depends on my mood, on whether I weave in an end or not, because it's, at the end of the day, it's my project. I can't explain why some days I will weave in my ends and some days I won't. But for the sake of this video, I think it could be a pretty fun thing to be like, oh, this person has so many ends to weave in, like how many ends can she weave in one day? And that's what I'm doing right now. Sometimes, like if I'm making granny squares, for example, I don't like weaving in my ends, even though I probably should weave my ends in more often. But It really just depends on my mood. I don't think I can explain why I will weave in some ends and not weave in others. It's genuinely not consistent because it's all vibes based. I got this idea from Cameron's Cute Creations, where she calls her live streams Weave In Wednesdays. And, you know, if I were to ever gain more of an audience and consider live streaming, I probably would do that. I genuinely would probably save me weaving in ends for a live stream. That way I'm more forced to do it. I don't know. It's difficult to explain. We'll see how this video turns out. I think I just genuinely thought this was a funny, quirky idea. And I hope it comes out that way. My temperature blanket this month doesn't have that many ends because January was so cold. So a lot of it was kind of all the same color, which makes for a boring temperature blanket, but makes for easy weaving in of ends. Maybe I should make a consolidated pile of all the ends I have afterward. I think it'd be fun. Okay, finished weaving in this end. That makes 1. And these are all the yarn scraps I got from weaving in that end. Again, we'll see how many I get to. I'll probably switch between projects depending on what I feel like doing and not. Good, let's get going. Okay, so I realize I'm gonna need a more organized way of, you know, tracking all the completed woven ends that I've done, that isn't just throwing them on the floor. So I think I'm gonna start putting them in this Lululemon bag. I'll show you what I have so far. I've woven in the ends of 3 bandanas. The Wooble Stuffy that literally taught me how to crochet over a year ago. 2 scrunchies. And January's temperature blanket block. That's not bad. As I was going through the bag of unwoven ends, I was thinking, wow, why did I not weave this in? Especially with the bandanas and the scrunchies, because I can understand granny squares not weaving those in because it's a lot of ends, but the bandanas are easy, especially if you just do one color. These 2 bandanas, I understand why I never wove in the ends for this, right? There's strings everywhere, right? But like this one, why did I not finish this? So, you know, it's dumb. It's really dumb. I can kind of see why I never finished weaving in ends, but at the same time, it's like, come on, you know? Especially with the scrunchies that are literally just 2 ends, it's so easy. I'm getting through them slowly but surely. You know, because I started so late, I'll probably stop doing the challenge at around 8 or so, which is, you know, that's like 8 hours of weaving in ends. I think that's a pretty good amount of time to weave in ends. At the end of the day, it is the spirit of Finish It February, and, you know, some people will say that you never finish a project until you weave in the ends. And now that I am weaving in these ends, I can say that I have finished the project. Everyone wins, right? Borderline ridiculous why I never wove in the ends. That being said, at least with the bandanas that I'm weaving in, like, I don't know if I want to put that on Etsy because it's not like the same color was using for the Etsy listing. I might save it for the eventual market my friends and I want to do, whatever that is. But yeah, that's TBD. See, this end, woven in completely, easy. Little update for you guys. I have quite a few granny squares weaved in, but I also finished weaving in this bag as well. But just in general, as I've been doing this, it's kind of difficult, mainly because I'm resisting the urge to crochet. I've been, you know, weaving these ends in as I listen to YouTube videos, you know, whatever. It's not, the act of weaving in ends is not a problem. It's just the fact that I would rather be doing literally anything else. I literally put stuff away over weaving in ends, which that never happens because I never put things away. I'm really bad about that, actually. So, I don't know. I think it's just the fact that I said, oh, today I am only weaving in ends. And instead of weaving in ends, I want to do literally anything else, including things I don't normally want to do. And to be fair, that's kind of how I got to this place in the first place. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how long I keep doing this. I might watch a movie or something while I weave in ends. Ugh. Also, I've been like super sedentary all weekend, so I'm gonna bust out my walking treadmill and see if I can try weaving in ends while walking on a treadmill and get some movement in because I feel gross. Okay, I finished the movie I was watching. I walked for about an hour-ish or so because, I started this part like halfway through. Got this many granny squares weaved in. Most of these are from my how many granny squares can I make in a day video. A lot of them have only 2 ends to weave in, so it wasn't a problem. I got one of these done though. This one was one of the more tricky squares to weave in. I got, according to my Apple Watch, about 5,000 steps in from doing about an hour of walking while watching a movie and weaving in ends. So I'm gross right now, but I don't feel gross. I feel healthy. I don't know. It's good. Okay, I've dillied and dallied enough to the point where I think I'm just gonna end my challenge here. As I was weaving in my ends, I wasn't busting out, weaving in ends, but I wasn't not doing it either. And I will say the point of this is more so to actually do something that otherwise I wouldn't have done, honestly. And for the sake of finishing things, I think I've gotten quite a few ends woven in. So let's do a final count up. So we completed 2 scrunchies, 1 amigurumi, 4 bandanas, 1 granny square tote bag, 1 coaster, and 43 granny squares. I don't know about you, but I think I did a good job, regardless of the fact that I was kind of half-assing this entire thing. Here's the ball of scraps I got from, today's challenge. So again, it's not like I didn't do anything. I just didn't do it to the fullest of my capability. But with that, I will conclude my video here. Thank you for watching if you made it this far, and let me know down in the comments how many ends do you need to weave in right now. I'm sure a lot of you have some amount of projects that need their ends woven in. I will see you around later. Bye!